Hi, Jonathan, Antoni, and Karamo. Nice to.
Hi. How do
Uh,
you do Mariah Carey back there, baby?
Oh
I
yeah.
see
oh
that.
yeah, oh yeah. She gets a name drop from Jonathan this season, doesn't
He
she?
does.
Yes.
There's your girl. um, nice to meet you all virtually in the Zoom world. I would have loved to do this in person. Um, I'm wondering though, since we're in the virtual world and everyone is talking about, do people wear pants on Zoom or don't they? Where do you fall on the line of pants or no pants?
I
I'm
wear
wearing
pants.
gym shorts.
I'm shorts.
Shorts, shorts, and Jonathan's.
Skirt on.
Just a
Okay.
casual skirt.
For the record, shorts. Okay. Pants check is good. So I know this is a heavy time to be talking about Queer Eye, and it might not even feel like the right time. I've seen your Instagram posts, which were very moving, and but I want you all to know that you show the world what the world can be through what you do. And I want to say that first of all, because I think that talking about the show is important right now. When it comes to protesting, you talk in this season about how self care is necessary in order to recharge so we can continue to fight for justice. Right now, how are you guys taking care of yourselves and each other?
Well, I first of all, I'm just in a space where it's like I check in with myself constantly, and I'm like, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to continue to try to educate people, and I think we're all in that space. But also, it's okay to say today I need to take an hour or two to recharge, or take the entire day to recharge by going outside, dancing, doing the arts, or doing something that makes you feel good. Because if you don't recharge yourself and take care of yourself, which is what the message of Queer Eye is, then you can't be there to support other people. And so, that's how I do it. I say I'm honest with myself. Today I got to watch TV and veg out, or today I got to do something else, and then I come back stronger the next day and fight for equality and justice, and that's what we should all be doing.
How about you, Anthony and Jonathan?
For me, I think it's been, it's definitely a tricky balance because I feel like I have so much to learn and I have a responsibility to educate myself. And that's sort of been my version of self-care and just making myself feel a tiny bit less useless. But I've been fostering a dog, which has been incredibly helpful just to have something to take care of, to take on little sporadic walks. Adopt, don't shop.
Yeah.
I've been cooking a lot, which, ironically, with the life that I've had over the past couple of years, I haven't been really able to cook because we're just all over the place all the time. So spending a lot of time and care doing that has really made me feel better. And then I just got back to New York a few days ago, and the next morning I went straight for a protest for the Black Lives Matter movement and ended in Washington Square Park. And it made me feel like I was part of a community. A lot of these conversations have been, with my boyfriend or my family or just with like a small close-knit group of people, and just to be out there with people who are actually doing something about it and trying to be proactive. That was really helpful for me. So
Jonathan, where do you go? What's your escape right now?
Well, I think quarantine had me, of all things, fall in love with like gardening. So I'm like really into gardening now, and like I kind of have like a really like brewing little mini like transportable garden outside that I'm really kind of obsessed with. So that has been kind of a self-care outer circle activity, if you will, if you're in the recovery space, that I've been doing, which I love. And
you've been cooking so much.
also been cooking a lot, and a lot of gardening. Yeah, and I also think, obviously coronavirus and the pandemic slowed down like so much of the work and the traveling that, we were doing. Um, and as and now as Black Lives Matter is, really stepped back into the forefront, and rightfully so, and like so gratefully so, I've been really feeling very lucky that I have something like Getting Curious in my podcast, and have the ability to amplify previous guests that are really in this space and are really doing such incredible work in this space. So I think, logistically, like I am very grateful that I happen to have some of my jobs where I could keep working and try to keep, engaged in this stuff enough to need to do self-care. Because but really it's but yeah, I feel gardening.
Gardening. You're a gardener now. Yeah. There's a lot of, while we're talking about the protests, there's a lot of us who have All Lives Matter people in our lives. I have them in my family, where we need to have conversations with these people to make change. And I'm going to lean on you for a second and ask you, like, what kind of makeover would you give these people? What kind of conversations might you have with these people? What would you say?
For me personally, I think it's like, I have had some, I guess I do have some of those people. I have been fighting those people for so long, though, not just in the last 2 weeks, like the people like literally in my periphery, because I do come from a rural Midwestern town where like, but this has obviously been reignited lately. I think that the 13th is a really good 90 minutes for someone that does not understand how slavery and Jim Crow have affected us and really gotten us to where we are now. It's not to, plug another Netflix show, but I wasn't, it really, I think, as a film that is a very succinct 90 minutes, and there's obviously so many, really incredible resources, but I think generally we have to convince people, we have to talk to people, we got to keep talking about it. But also, I think generally when people have the information and can get the information themselves, like when you cannot watch that and come away from that and not be like, fuck? Like, and if you are truly clueless about it, like you can't come away from that and be like, not super moved and understanding, the systematic oppression of what Black people have faced in this country since its inception.
I would say for me, I would say to those individuals who are saying all lives matter, I would take it from an emotional stance of saying, what are you scared you're going to lose by saying that this other person's life is of value? Because there's a fear there. There's a fear that's saying that this person's life matter for some reason. For those individuals, from what I've heard and who I've talked to, they feel like for some reason it's taking away from them. And so I want to know, what do you emotionally think that you're going to lose by trying to help somebody else feel seen and feel supported? And I think that's such a base place to start. And then to say, what would you gain emotionally by seeing someone else feel loved and supported? And I think helping them to understand that the loss is not real, but the gain could be so monumental for people who are African American, people of color, who are people of the LGBT community. And I know we're talking about Black Lives Matter, but altogether, anybody who is still in a space where you don't want to give someone else their equal rights, what are you scared you're going to lose? And what do you think you could possibly gain by helping someone else? And that's where I would go with the conversation with that.
Perfectly said. Yeah.
If you educate yourself, it becomes undeniable. There is no shortage of podcasts and documentaries. I just watched, I think it's on Netflix, but I'm not sure, the lovely Baldwin doc, I Am Not Your Negro. I've been listening to the 1619 Project from the New York Times, which is fantastic. And like, once you hear all of these facts, once they're all put together, instead of tiny little snippets, it becomes so much harder to actually debate, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's education, it's educating yourself. And every single one of us has a responsibility to do that.
Thank you guys. And, thanks for bringing some hope and love and diversity and inclusion to your work. It's much appreciated by me, and also everybody who was excited that I was going to be talking to you guys today. So thank you so much. All right, you guys take care. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.